A very good evening and welcome to the 8 p.m. news broadcast brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Nondobego Nzabgelwago and I am together with Zama Nzimanze. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines. Swati Beverages has donated personal protective equipment to the government of Eswatini. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy is looking to find ways of improving the energy sector in the country. The Export-Import Bank of India Loan Bill number 3 of 2020 has been passed on to the Ministry of Finance Portfolio Committee in Senate. The news in detail. Swati Beverages has donated personal protective equipment to the government of Eswatini, which amounts to over 180,000 emalangeni. The equipment was received by the Deputy Prime Minister, Themba Masuku, on behalf of the Kingdom of Eswatini.
The Swati Beverages has donated personal protective equipment to the government of Eswatini. The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says government recognizes and appreciates Swati Beverages and all sectors that have contributed in supporting the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Sourcing medical protocols such as PPEs proved extremely difficult and elusive as serious supply chain bottlenecks around the world became widely pervasive due to global demand and travel bans. So even if we could find PPEs, we couldn't lend them in the country because of the international bans on travel. That meant that our frontline staff could not safely respond to the pressing demands of the moment.
The Swati Beverages CEO Bridget Makura says they really appreciate the government for allowing operations of businesses that sell alcoholic beverages. Makura says COVID-19 has really affected their business, but they will continue in supporting the country in fighting the COVID-19 disease.
This has been one of the toughest years for Eswatini Beverages. It has been a tough year for the country. No one could have predicted what COVID-19 would have been. And we would like to thank you, the Prime Minister and His Majesty for the leadership in all and navigating us through this difficult time.
The President of Business Eswatini, Andrew Leroux, says it is great to see different kinds of businesses in the country support the government during these trying times of COVID-19.
Our infections are going down. We've kept the vast majority of our people safe. We've managed to walk that difficult line between safety and maintaining our economy, and with the leadership provided by His Majesty and given traction through our cabinet.
Different sectors in the kingdom have provided a helping hand to government in various ways, such as educating people about the disease, protecting those in need and providing for them. Government receives an estimated amount of 400 million emalangeni of tax from the beverage industry. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Temalangeni Dlamini with Fabrice Musonera in Amafini.
The Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy met with the Portfolio Committee together with the Eswatini Regulatory Authority to find ways of improving the energy sector in the country and to develop guidelines which will be followed by the Eswatini Electricity Company as they provide services to people in the kingdom.
The Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy met with the Portfolio Committee from the House of Assembly and the Eswatini Energy Regulatory Authority to discuss ways in which electricity matters can be improved in the Kingdom of Eswatini by adding guidelines the Eswatini electricity company will use when working. The ministry also seeks to develop guidelines which will guide the Eswatini electricity company as they deliver on their mandate. The Minister of Natural Resources and Energy, Peter Bembe, says the guidelines will improve service delivery to the people, which is in the spirit of decentralization.
Kuvamaka kuba netikhalo letinyenti letitsi ngazuthi EEC wendala kutsandzako nangabe asachaja ema-customer njalo ngesikhatsi na-apply kunetingoni letinyenti ema-customer lakhala ngato endzabeni ye-connection.
The Portfolio Committee Chairperson Big Boy Mamba says this initiative will help in fixing electricity challenges in the country.
Emaswati sekatawati ukuthi le formula kuze kuphumele quotation kuba kanjani, because before bengwane nje kuphuma quotation ka EC bangadi ukuthi le formula isetshenziswa kanjani. Sekutaba le methodology tariffs letasinika yona esera ukuthi kuze kuthi imali increase kwentwana nakho.
The Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy, together with the Eswatini Energy Regulatory Authority, urges Eswatini to continue registering for hearings on the Eswatini Electricity Company requesting for 7% tariff hike. Eswatini TV News, I'm Temalang Ndlamini Muslim Konda Ezulwini.
The Export-Import Bank of India Loan Bill number 3 of 2020 has been passed onto the Ministry of Finance Portfolio Committee in Senate. The loan bill will be used to fund the construction of a data recovery site at Kalanga in the Lubombo region. The bill was tabled and moved by the Minister of Finance, Neil Regenberg, in the House of Assembly today.
Last week, the House of Assembly passed the Export-Import Bank of India, the construction of a disaster recovery site project, Loan Bill number 3 of 2020. This bill seeks to finance the construction of a data recovery site at Kalanga. The bill has now been debated in Senate, where legislators directed questions at the Minister of Finance, Neil Reichenberg.
I would like to propose, Honourable President, for the Minister to give the House of Senate a list from the time when he came into office of all the loan bills that were passed in Parliament.
But it's not time that we will more than anything else, to speak to now strategies.
Senator Mkhululi Dlamini then moved that the bill be referred to the Ministry of Finance Senate Portfolio Committee, a motion that passed. Minister of Finance Neil Reichenberg then responded to questions posed by senators.
The problem that we find ourselves in, finding an economy with a heap of arrears, is not a simple thing to fix. So a lot of these loans that we are taking, unfortunately, honourable senators, is actually fixing problems that we found even as ourselves in our term, if I can put it that way, that we found in the economy. But we have to fix these things to get the economy right. Unless we fix these things, unless we do the right things, we're going to be projects, new projects that we are starting. We found that we already made the commitments for, we already found them on the table when we came in.
Reichenberg says government will be able to repay the over $10 million loan as some of its loans are maturing soon. He says the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund have faith in the country's ability to repay its loans as the two institutions continue to lend money to government. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, Parliament.
The Minister for Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati, says it is important for the Kingdom of Eswatini to solicit finances towards its climate change programs. The minister was speaking when officially opening a climate change financing model meeting at the Hilton Garden Inn Hotel in Mbabane.
The Ministry of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, the custodians of all climate change policies in the kingdom, have met with all stakeholders and those who have an interest in climate change issues to try and find strategies on how to solicit funding for all climate change programs in the kingdom. The meeting was officially opened by the Minister Moses Vilagati. The minister says should Eswatini fail to fund her climate change program, she will lose the fight against climate change, and that will have detrimental consequences.
There is no more stark reminder of the need for us all to take urgent action than the devastating impact of climate change that we are witnessing now. We have no other option but to mobilize ourselves more than ever before to safeguard the planet. We need a focused climate action as of now. The global community has called for all countries to focus on climate action in a way that takes sustainable development into consideration, a way that calls for all society to come into the game. National climate actions in the form of nationally determined contributions, which we have come to know as NDCs, need to be prepared in an inclusive way and reviewed and enhanced every 5 years. Eswatini is in the process of reviewing its NDC with more ambitious and quantified targets in adaptation and mitigation. In order to achieve the transformational outcomes, the key challenge in limited skills, knowledge in designing well-articulated bankable climate projects, and translating predictions of climate impacts into project proposals for funding must be addressed urgently. This is important for the fact that accessing climate finance, particularly from international sources, would play a critical role in the implementation of the NDCs.
The global community has called upon countries to focus on climate action, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Other world leaders have called upon the US President-elect to bring back America to the 2015 Paris Agreement. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Temalang Dlamini with Gianim CB in Babane.
Senators have commended work done by the Minister of Agriculture at the National Agriculture Marketing Board. They say this includes facilitating the use of digital technology to make quick payments to farmers. However, senators asked the minister to give equal attention to other parastatals under his ministry.
Minister of Agriculture Jabulani Mabuza was in Senate on Monday to respond to questions on what the National Agriculture Marketing Board is doing to find markets for products that are a little bit below standard. Mabuza says government is working with the private sector and international organizations to assist local farmers. Although the minister was in the House for NAMPOD issues, he was also asked questions on the National Maize Corporation by Senator Prince Makutfulela, who wanted to know about the handling of the elapsed contract of the parastatal's CEO.
Indvuna beyibonga umsebenzi lowendiwe ngu-NMC. Bekangekho lo CEO mhlambe ngoba sekuphelele contract ngoba umuntu nakade awuhanjiswa Mr. President in this democratic dispensation noma ngabe uhamba ngale contract uyambita umvalelise wena so wakithi so yahamba
kwakulekha i-understanding kusete nalabalimi ba-minister kuhambisa leli vangeli le emakhaya. So unabo ke minister siyajabula kakhulu.
Mabuza then responded.
Kude indlela yokuthi CEO ku-parastatal angahamba kude nje ukuthi angahamba kungakathintwana ngoba lama contracts la sayinwako avele asho nje asinase iphele i-contract wena CEO uyobe sowenda nakho wena board uyobe sowenda nakho bese ke sekuyendeka ke lokho sekuyavaleliswana kude i-shortcuts to that nakune shortcuts kuyaboshwana ngoba kusuke kusayiniwe kuma contracts. Cela ke gcina nganako umengameli ukuthi But what is important for the country, it's not true. Because
Mabuza says it was concerning that the country still imported food 53 years after independence. He says this has to come to a stop. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, Parliament.
Eswatini is currently faced with a shortage of anti-venom. The Anti-Venom Foundation pleads with the Maswati to ensure cleanliness in their surroundings to avoid snakes that are currently out for food. The following report has visuals of live snakes.
Summer season is a time where snakes are out looking for food. While wandering about, they can come across people or invade some homes. The Eswatini Anti-Venom Foundation pleads with Maswati to clear their surroundings and cut long grass to avoid these. The foundation has dealt with cases of 5 snake bites this past Friday alone and 3 on Monday. Tia Lichkakon, the co-founder of the Eswatini Anti-Venom Foundation, says there is no anti-venom available currently in the country. Therefore, it is important to keep areas as clean as possible.
We need to be very, very, very careful. There is a total stock out of anti-venom. Our suppliers, where we purchase it from in South Africa, cannot keep up with the demand. So we are critically short of anti-venom here in Eswatini. I want to please ask everybody in Eswatini, be careful. Clean up, clear your home, make sure you don't have any rodents. You need to do everything in your power to keep the snake activity in and around your home to 0. It's very easy to do. You just need to clean, clear. If you don't have rodents, you're not going to have a problem with snakes. If you are in an area and because of the heat you can't close your windows and your doors, please invest in a simple mosquito net that can cover your bed and keep you safe at night.
Whenever a person comes across a snake or when a snake has entered a house or invaded the home, never try to kill or attack the snakes. Rather, call trained volunteers who handle snakes who come free of charge in the different parts of the country. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian MCB. Some visuals sourced from the internet.
The Eswatini Electricity Company has launched a safety awareness campaign and booklet aimed at eliminating the incidents of electrocution due to contact with electricity. The booklet was launched by the Acting Managing Director, Nandi Matunjwa.
With the increase in incidents and fatalities as a result of electrocution, the Eswatini Electricity Company has unveiled a safety booklet which provides useful information for the family, especially children. This financial year, the Eswatini Electricity Company recorded about 28 incidents related to electrocution, where 13 of them were deaths. Nandi Matunjwa, the Acting Managing Director of AEC, says the booklet seeks to provide safety tips for both the young and the old.
Oftentimes the outcome is a fatality. You are lucky always to survive an incident where you come into contact with electricity. We want to take this opportunity, particularly during this time of the season when we have started receiving some rains, and indeed it does happen that these rains of late are accompanied by heavy storms that often would pull down the power lines. Therefore, we want to extend a safety caution to our customers that always they must stay away from fallen power lines and be safe in their use of electricity. We are launching today a booklet that we've packaged as AEC that is intended for both elderly, for adults and customers who are children, who are able to read and also appreciate in a simplest of language the benefits of using electricity properly, and also taking the necessary precautions in as far as use of electricity is concerned. We have noticed that so far, especially this year,
There are several incidents of electrocution where our customers, and in particular small children, have been electrocuted either doing errands to which they have been sent by their parents, or even playing with the electricity infrastructure.
The booklet will be made available in the local newspapers and the company's website. I am Kian Msibi for Eswatini TV News, Manzini.
We will now take a look at the COVID-19 update from the Ministry of Health. That 10 people tested positive for COVID-19 today in the country, which brings the total number of confirmed cases to 6,013. There are 154 active cases. 5,732 people have recovered from COVID-19. People that have succumbed to COVID-19 are 117, while those that are registered for care are 10. Looking at the cumulative confirmed COVID-19 cases by region, the Manzini region has 2,683 cases of COVID-19. The Hoho region has 2,286 cases of COVID-19. The Lubombo region has 542 cases, while the Shiselweni region has 502 cases of coronavirus. Junior Achievement Eswatini will next week host the Global Entrepreneurship Week, where they will help out-of-school youth with business. This was confirmed by Junior Achievement Communications Manager Spesihle Mkonda.
This coming week, the Junior Achievement Organization Eswatini will start the Global Entrepreneurship Week, where the organization seeks to assist and educate the out-of-school youth on businesses who are not here in college. The organization's audience also accommodates those in primary schools as well. JA Communications Officer Sipesihle Mkonda elaborates on the Global Entrepreneurship Week.
We are looking into 4 thematic topics that are going to be discussed across the week, where even Junior Achievement Eswatini is arranging for activities that are going to be aired on our Facebook pages, be on TV and be on radio, where we will engage the different sectors that we are working with in terms of the themes that we are looking at. One of the themes speaks to inclusion, where we would like to see a lot of women being included in entrepreneurship in terms of finances that is dispersed to them to start their businesses. We're also looking at the policy issues. How much is government supporting youth entrepreneurship at the grassroots level? Because our policies have to talk to what we are doing, what we are putting in action. There's also an aspect of education where we are looking at the resources that we have as Junior Achievement, as any other company that works in educating the young person to be a better human being in the future. So we will be sharing those resources, and we're also looking at inclusion, as we had said, that it shouldn't be people who feel they are close to civilization that can start businesses. It should be everyone from wherever you are. You should be able to start your business and grow. So we are looking at discussing those topics at length, and allowing our young people in Eswatini to actually contribute and get ideas of how best they can position themselves for opportunities that are there.
The organization can be contacted through their social media and their offices for more information on the Entrepreneurship Week. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi, Manzini.
In our sports news today, senior women national team Stebe Samhlegazi have been knocked out of this year's COSAFA Women Championships after their defeat against Angola of 4-3. The game was played in Port Elizabeth in the Republic of South Africa.
Stebe Samhlegazi came to the game needing only a victory of 3 points or playing a draw against Angola, which was going to give them a chance to proceed to the semi-finals of the tournament as second best. In the first half, Stebe looked focused and hungry to clinch the game as they finished leading 3-2. Things took a different twist in the second half when Angola scored their third goal to equalize. Just during the dying moments of the game, Sisebo conceded a penalty which saw Angola getting an opportunity to score and win their first game of the tournament by 4-3, something that did not sit well with coach Bongos Mdluli, who somehow blamed it on the referees.
We were unlucky with the refereeing today. I think in the semblance of balance, I think even our team, we should have gotten at least one of the penalties. There were cases there, but she did not give. But same cases this side, she gave. So I think we were unlucky, especially with the officiation.
Angola head coach Susa Garcia congratulated his players for the performance.
And we went to halftime. I spoke with my players, say, okay, we are playing well. Just keep the plan and trust on the process, and we got the results we want.
The results mean Stebe have only won one game in their Group A against Comoros. The semi-finals of the tournament will be played on Thursday, where South Africa Banyana would face Malawi, while Botswana would play Zambia. For Eswatini TV Sports, from Isumsonera, picture sourced from Kosafa.
Captain of Aces Sports Tennis Academy, Bruce Gama, says the standard of the 2020 Aces Open tournament has improved compared to the one of the previous year. Gama is encouraging young tennis players who took part in the tournament to keep up the good work.
Aces Sports Academy hosted its Aces Open tennis tournament for the year 2020, where it gathered different tennis stars in the country and those coming from beyond the Kingdom of Eswatini. According to the captain of the academy, Bruce Gama, this year's tournament has provided the highest standard of the tennis sport in the country compared to the previous year.
So standard in terms of last year, Nanyalo, sinyungile this time around kakhulu. Even last year, Mascala standard besetulu, but this year.
Gama highlighted that if you look at the standard of the sport in this tournament in this year, it shows that it has really improved compared to the previous year. He goes on to say that this also has shown that besides the COVID-19 being a problem where the sport was on hold for quite some time, but athletes are back at their best.
Which is something Swati.
Gama went on to encourage young stars in the juniors category who provided a beautiful performance during this year's tournament to keep up the good work as they hold the future of the tennis industry. Gama says juniors of tennis in the country have provided the best performance. If you look at the elite group of tennis athletes, they have already got some best athletes who will be representing them for the near future. To tell you the truth, the future of the tennis industry in the country is indeed bright. Overall winners of the tournament were Benjamin Locke and Thabo Ncube from the Republic of Zimbabwe. For Eswatini TV Sports, from Isumsonera, Lubamba.
Well, we've come to the end of our news bulletin. But before we wrap up, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. Swati Beverages has donated personal protective equipment to the government of Eswatini. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy is looking to find ways of improving the energy sector in the country. The Export-Import Bank of India Loan Bill number 3 of 2020 has been passed on to the Ministry of Finance Portfolio Committee in Senate. Eswatini, that is all the news that we had for you tonight. Up next is the weather forecast. Good night and God bless.